Hey, so today I'm in the back half of the barn because once we got everything cleaned up and cleared out in the other space, we did a quick measurement just to see how many chickens we can get in there. Um, Now with the laws here, we can have up to 300 laying hens without getting permitted or anything like that, and that's about what we want to be doing, 250 to 300. But with the space we had in there, we can only get about 150. So we, since we had the tape measures out and everything, came back into the back half of the barn here where, we've already got the kind of temporary chicken coop from last winter. And we measured that side, and that's enough to get 250, which is right about where we want to be as far as the amount of egg production and everything we want to be creating for sale and making, some money to make up what we're lacking with Caroline's wages. So we're pivoting. I mean, all the work I did in there, at first it feels like it's a waste of time, but it's all stuff we're going to utilize anyway. So that'll be our expanded chicken brooding area and everything. If we're going to get into meat birds and be doing those for sale, then we're going to need a lot more space for the brooding area, and that area is perfect for it. It will also kind of let us set up for doing packaging and prep. And even sales on site right there in the building. And, it just needs, it's already so much cleaner than it was, but it'll just take a little bit more to clean up the other half and, take out some of the stalls and replace them with something a little better looking. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be starting to do here today is we'll be taking down these stalls. Now, part of the problem is with the goats in here as well, I can't leave the chicken feed over here accessible to them because certain individuals, I won't name who, like to get into criminal enterprises involving stealing chicken food. So we're going to leave this kind of in place as long as possible. But my first step here, before we get any infrastructure put in, is we want to clean up what's in here. I want to get the ceiling painted. It's something that's been on my list to do for a while anyway, just because even though I painted all the other walls last year and made it brighter, having a fresh coat of white paint on the ceiling will make it even brighter. And then I've got new lights to put in, so we have some better lighting through the winter for the chickens in here, because lighting is important for their egg laying. So, I mean, most of what we have, we've got some barnyard mix here, but we've also got, they're primarily Orpingtons, so they should be laying about 200 a year. That's about the amount they do, and they really slow down in the winter just due to A, the temperature, and B, the lighting and everything. So if you want to keep your production up a little bit, you give them a warm, bright space to live in through the winter here. So we'll still have, still be putting holes in the wall to give them access outside and covered area to get out there. But when it's, negative 20 to negative 40 for, a few months at a time here, and that's Celsius, just so you know, it's pretty dang cold. So, one of the other things, like I said, we'll be getting some ducting through, and we've got a plan to just kind of route it through the wall over here and just have it coming out just beside the door here. And that'll be good, blowing hot air into this half of the barn. I mean, it was all right last year when we had it just blowing through the opening in the other side of the barn, and I had a fan in the hallway just to kind of mix it this way, which helped a little bit, but it was still pretty cold back here. So having a direct pipe blowing warm air into this section will make a big difference for that. As nothing likes to go out in winter here, even though certain individuals, I won't say who, should be fine outside in the weather. Even when it's minus 40, they're perfectly fine with it with their coats and everything. The chickens, they're fine too. I mean, again, Orpingtons are very, they're cold hardy birds. But we'll probably be doing some Plymouth Rock or something like that in the future for our layers, because they lay a little bit more. And again, they're bigger multi-purpose birds, which can also be used for meat consumption if you're so inclined. After their laying kind of turns or slows down. But they do, about 300 a year and would be much better, higher production and everything for what we want to be doing. So we're thinking that's kind of where we're going to go with them. And yeah, so anyway, I'm going to get working on getting the bolts out of the ceiling here. And then I'm probably just going to be cutting the stanchions off from where they are from the top of the fence to the ceiling, just for now, because again, I gotta leave this fencing up for keep them out of the chicken stuff, and until I can get to a point where I'm actually putting in walls and reframing it. So what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna do two separate coops here. So we're gonna make this one a little bit smaller, just have someplace to put the roosters in winter, and then once the roosters are out in the outside coop during the summer, is where we'll be integrating our new chicks. So the juveniles before they're laying and everything, we'll get them in there where they're close and just have a fence separating them from the others. I mean, we'll have boards at the bottom just to keep the boys kind of out of sight as much, just to keep down the stress levels and everything of them not being able to get to the girls, because we're going to fully close it in. But we'll also have two runs outside separated by a fence and a gate that we can open for when we have the juveniles in, so they'll have a chance to be close to each other and integrate a little bit more smoothly, because just with our space and control constraints with the chickens so far, because the infrastructure here isn't suited for chickens yet, we've just been getting them to a certain age, and then we've just kind of tossed them in here and let them kind of figure themselves out, and it takes a while for them to fully integrate. Like the 16 chicks that we hatched earlier this year still aren't fully integrated with the 14 or 15 we already had here. So they're getting there, but they're still kind of two separate groups that kind of cohabitate. So we want to try to make that a little bit smoother in the future, because they'll be locked into a space together. So we'll have them with access outside where they've got just a mesh fence in between, so they can see each other and get to know each other and everything like that before we bring the juveniles over into the main coop. So yeah, anyway, that's the plan here. I'm going to get started on, again, tearing stuff down, and so ideally today I want to be getting to paint the ceiling. So I got to zip these bolts out, lop these bars off. The fences will be stable enough for the short time they're going to be here. And then we'll start clearing those out, because those are all coming out, and we're going to be putting up new fencing with mesh and everything on it, and moving all the goat stuff from that side over to this side, and eventually putting in more proper stalls. We're going to put like 2 wooden stalls in here for the goats, so we can have them staying in one through winter, and then switch them to the other one when we need to clean it out, and just kind of go back and forth like that, because there's more than enough space for our 3 goats for that over winter. And yeah, so anyway, I'm going to get working here. All right, so those are all disconnected now, and I'm just going to go and I'm just going to cut them off at the top of the fence for each one, just to give me room to clean and paint and give it a nice flush white ceiling. None of these fences are going to be here once we're done with what we're doing, so I'm just going to do the quickest thing right now to get the painting done, because that's my priority for today. Get that done, get the lights in probably tomorrow, and then move forward with the rest of the teardown and cleanup and getting things shifted over. So yeah, gonna start continuing Adam's adventures in grinding here, and yeah, we'll just keep moving. So that's all the cutting done. As much fun as that is for me, my chickens and goats really don't like it. But they've got plenty of places they can go to get away. But they've all, and they're already coming back in and settling in. At least the chickens. I may never see the goats again, but I'm sure they're just out in the yard. Anyway, so next I'm just gonna clean up some stuff on the ceiling here. There's like a few hooks and odds and ends that are left over from when these were cattle pens. And we'll clean those, clean some of that stuff up, and then I'll, I guess, probably just give it a sweep off and then start painting. All right, so as much as the hardware removal on the ceiling that I can do is done now. So I'm just gonna go around. I got to do a little bit more cleanup on it. But before I go off and with a broom and start sweeping off all the loose paint and everything off, because that's just the quickest and easiest way for me to get it done. I want to find a couple of stray boards or something that I can use with my ladder to make it into a platform for me to stand on, just to make it a little bit easier to get that done. So I'm just gonna wander over here to the tractor barn and see what's here. This is where I have a lot of just spare miscellaneous large pieces of wood that might fit the bill. And then make full use of my ladder today, which is one of the bonuses of those adjustable ladders, is they can also be set up to do that sort of platform, right? You can set up just the centerpiece, holds itself together, and you hook the other two legs together, and it sets up as a platform base, so you can run some boards along for doing things like painting the ceiling. Well, I might have something here I can use, so let's just take a look. So we got a few boards here. I'm sure some of those are good with what I already have to kind of fill the gap, so I think I'll just grab a couple of those. It doesn't need to be too long, because I don't want it to be too floppy or anything and falling down. So yeah, this one with another one that I found on my way out should work rather well and give me a good platform to paint from. And can't believe how handy the paint gun I bought before we moved in here has come. And it's not something you'd want to use for any detail work or anything where your edges are that important, because it does do quite a wide spray. So if you're expecting your line along your ceiling with your masking tape to work, you need to double or even triple it with the amount of spray this thing puts out. But for doing something like a barn, where you don't really care about the lines, you just want to make the walls white, it works beautifully and swiftly. So I'm plenty happy with that. So the speed with which I managed to do that front half the other day was great. So all right, the bonus of living on an established farm is you have wood and crap you can use everywhere. So let's get back there and we'll start sweeping up the ceiling, getting all the loose chips of paint and everything off, and then we'll start spraying. So that was neither a pleasant nor easy nor, clean job. Like, I'm a mess. It's no fun at all. So anyway, it's done. I swept the entire ceiling. I don't think I videoed it, but I got the job done. Anyway, so now it's time to get set up and get the platform ready so that I could move back and forth a little bit more with painting the ceiling. So yeah, I'll get that set up here and show you how to set it up. So what we've got here is, so this is my ladder that I bought when we moved to the farm here, and it's an adjustable ladder. So it's a Werner, and it goes up. You can actually extend it up to about 17 feet. Is the full reach of the ladder, and it's so it works as either just a straight little step ladder, or you can extend it up to a full straight up and down 17 feet. And so it's just a matter of cracking it open, and it pins here or it pins in the straight position. And then for the extension, you can pull out these hooks, right? And they will just slide up and down. Now what I want to do here is actually want to slide these right off. Because then with the two, so this will be one pin at one side, and then you can take these and latch them in to the other pin. The other side, and then it's just a matter of setting them out. To hold your platform. And that will allow me to easily spray up on the ceiling. So, hopefully, if you're doing something like that, it makes it a lot easier to reach up and hit the higher heights without overly extending your arms. And, so it's a lot easier to stand like this with my spray gun and hit the ceiling rather than doing something like this. All right, so I'm gonna get painting here.